But anyway, this is my this is the way this affects me. As you can tell, I'm a little bit on the edgy side because this is very personal stuff that I'm sharing, so it's, yeah, so bear with me. But so the main thing that I touched on before, and I said that affects me and that I'm on meds for, is the mood swings. Now, this, I'm not sure how much of this is BPD and how much of this is the new bipolar or anything like that. Again, it's all kind of muddled into one thing, but mood swings are the main symptom that I get. And I'm talking, I can go from being relatively okay, like I am at the moment, to within an hour or even half an hour, it's been known to happen like that, I can go down. I can be extremely low. I can even go to the point of having suicidal thoughts. I'm that low. It can literally change within an hour, within minutes, or it can sometimes last for days. Sometimes I've had, my illnesses tend to be quite episodic. So I can have a couple of weeks or a month even where I'm relatively okay and not like I have day-to-day issues, but it's not a massive problem. It's there, but it's not a problem. But then I can at the moment, for example, I can go through a phase where literally months now I haven't really been stable, for want of a better term. My moods have been all over the place. I've been struggling to keep a handle on it and that sort of thing. But yeah, some of the mood swings I go through, I can go really low. I also go the other extreme. I don't go manic. Again, I'll probably do a video explaining on the terms manic and hypermania and all that sort of thing, if anyone wants me to. But basically, I don't go absolutely manic like they do in bipolar type 1, but I do get hypermania, which is where it's not quite as high. But I basically get this feeling of I become extremely impulsive, which I can be anyway. I also have a lot of energy. I'm very hyper, hence where the hyper term comes from. And I can get agitated easily. I struggle with concentration, all that sort of thing when I'm really high. I also have issues with anger, and I can get into fits of rage where I just get really, really angry, and it doesn't even have to be for a reason. And a lot of the time, ironically, it can be because I'm angry about, like yesterday, I got really angry for about a couple of hours it was. And the reason I was angry is because I'd woken up, I'd had certain things planned to do during the day, but my head, I was feeling pretty low. So I knew I needed to do these things, but I couldn't do them because my head wasn't in the right place to do them. My concentration wasn't there. I was just feeling low and rubbish. And I then got really angry about feeling low because my head was once again getting in the way of me doing what I wanted to do. That then triggered off rage. So you can see how it all sort of tiny little things trigger off each other, and it's like a domino effect, and it just, yeah. Literally the tiniest little things can trigger me off as well, which is really, really difficult to live with. And trying to put it into words, if you can imagine, you're just sat at home watching the TV, and then the next thing you know, you're breaking down in tears. Just for no reason sometimes. It doesn't even have to be a trigger. Just boom, you're in tears. How are you supposed to go every day living like that? It is so tiring and exhausting. It really is. Anyone else out there who experiences the same thing, I really, really feel for you because I know how difficult it is. It can get to the point where it's hard to function day to day. I know that. I've experienced it. But anyway, so yeah, the mood swings are a massive issue for me. And one of the best ways I've heard it described with BPD is that our emotions, we are extremely, extremely sensitive. And this has actually been, I've got this description from Katie Morton, who's a YouTuber, and you may have heard of her, she's an absolute inspiration to me. And she is a therapist who does advice videos on YouTube. And she described it as, it's perfect for me, it just describes it brilliantly, as the emotions are, the best way to describe it is if you picture a burn victim. It's not a very pleasant way, but again, all their nerves are exposed, so absolutely any touch, any sensations are heightened and extremely painful and intense. That is exactly what it's like for us with BPD. And because every little emotion is intensified. So again, feeling happy is intensified, so you're over the top happy. Feeling low is intensified, so you're way down in the depths of mood and get, lower than other people would do. And there's no sort of happy medium, and it's really intense, and it's really hard to control and deal with, because it's just super intense. It's on the top end of the scale each time. You're either really high, or you're really low, or you're really anxious, or really just got no energy whatsoever. There's no sort of happy medium, so it can be difficult. It is possible. Again, I'm not trying to be all doom and gloom in this video and it's really hard and there's no possible way of escape or dealing with it, because there is. I'm still here, I'm still going. A lot of other people, I talk to a lot of people with issues similar to mine and worse, and they're still going. It is possible to do, it is possible to keep going and fight it. It's just learning how to manage it, basically. But yeah, one of the other things that I get is being impulsive, as I'd mentioned briefly during the high, so I get that quite a lot. And urges. So it's, whereas someone would say someone wants a cigarette or something, for example, if you're a smoker, and you turn around and it's like, well, no, just wait half an hour before you have that cigarette. But you can't, because your head, it's like it's just screaming at you that you have to do that, whatever it is. For me, it can be anything, but you have to do that right in this second, and you have to do it now, otherwise everything's going to go wrong, and your whole survival on doing this one thing at this one moment. Now, I know it's not rational, and a lot of people will be going, what? Well, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, I know it doesn't make sense. That's just how my brain is wired. That's just how it works. I'll flip into where I'm just really impulsive, and I just have to do something right in this instant. That's why when people turn around and say, for example, which brings me on to my next point, self-harm urges, and people turn around and say to me, oh, well, just don't do it, just go out for an hour. It's like, you don't quite get how strong these urges are. It's not like you can just turn it off and just ignore it. I tend to distract. I use distractions quite a lot as a coping strategy, as I'll mention in forthcoming videos, but it's not as simple as just, oh, well, just don't do it. It's like turning around and saying to someone who's got an eating disorder, well, just eat, or just don't do this, or just don't. You can't. It's not that simple. It really is not that simple at all, and anyone who says that to any of you has clearly got no idea of any issues and never suffered with anything like that themselves. So try not to sort of take it with a pinch of salt as much as you can, because I've had it, and it's so frustrating. You just want to scream at that person and be like, look, it's not that simple. But anyway, I'm going to get off on a rant now, so I'm going to stop and go back to the self-harm. That is also a symptom. I have struggled with that since I was about 14 years old. It depends. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I don't want to worry people or upset people or anything. But yeah, it is an issue I've had since I was 14 years old. It is something that I now feel I have a lot more control over than I used to. But it is a big, obviously self-destructive aspect of the BPD. and depression and everything else that comes along with it. If you want to know any more details about that, drop me a question. Anything like that. I'm happy to talk about it. I just don't want to share too much on such a public way like this. Going on from that into another grey area, I also suffer with suicidal thoughts quite frequently when I'm not in a good place. Tends to come more when I'm really low, or not generally when I'm really high. When I'm high, it's more like I'm invincible and I can do anything I want to. So I'll go off and spend a ridiculous amount of money or things like that. But when I'm low is when it's more dangerous, because obviously my head goes, I can't do this anymore, I've had enough, it's too painful, blah blah blah, and it all just spirals and yeah. So that's another aspect. Again, I would probably do another video specifically on the self-harm and suicidal thoughts, because they're a big issue, and obviously a big issue for everybody. But I'll probably do another video on that specific topics, talking about my experiences, if that's what people would like. Obviously, I need feedback. Another issue that comes along with a lot of mental health issues, not just this one specifically, is low self-esteem. Now, it's very, very common, especially, I mean, it's common with people who don't actually have a diagnosis of anything, and just do, like, it's common with teenagers, it's common with loads of people. So you're not alone at that at all, where you think absolutely nothing of yourself some days, well, quite often, to be honest, and you really can't see that you're worth anything. You don't like anything about your appearance. There's so many things, different aspects that comes into. One of the biggest things for me is I tend to put, if you have like a roster of important people, I mean, you've got, like, for me, I've got friends, family at the top. I am always at the bottom of my list, always. No matter what is going on, I always put myself last, which I am now changing, and I am starting to put me first, hence, while being off work and focusing on getting this right and sorted, so yay. But yeah, it's something that I'm battling with for a long time. Putting yourself equal or putting yourself first is so difficult, but so important at the same time. So yeah, the low self-esteem is a big one. Also, stress, I find, is key trigger for me. It can go from, like, I tend to let things overwhelm me. So rather than dealing with, like, A, for example, rather than dealing with A when it occurs, I'll put A in a box, and then B will come along, I'll put B in a box. C, I'll do the same, until it gets to the point where I think I've dealt with A, B and C, but then D will come along, which is bigger than the rest of them, add on top A, B and C, and it becomes this whole big, massive mountain that just overwhelms me, and I go, I can't deal with this, and end up exploding, normally internally. Because some people will explode externally and they'll lash out at others. I tend to turn it inwards, hence the self-harm and the self-destructive side of it. It's my fault, I deserve it, and it all turns in on itself, which is not pleasant, and it's not easy to fight either. But yeah. And then there's one final big symptom. I mean, again, I've already talked for almost 20 minutes, so I'm not going to go into more detail. But if people want any more questions, feel free to ask me anything in the comments below the video. If you've got me on Facebook, add me on Facebook, ask me in the inbox. I'm happy to answer any questions. Really am, honestly. I also want this to become a community, like I've said before. So I need feedback from you who watch this to let me know if I'm talking about things that genuinely are helpful to you, or if I'm totally off on a wrong tangent and you don't actually want to know about this, that and the other, just give me feedback, let me know. I know people have been watching these because I've seen some of my views, which are really, really good, and I'm so grateful for. So please just get using the comments. Let me know what you think, and questions, videos you'd like me to do, topics you'd like me to cover, all of that. I'm really grateful for it. Now the final topic is probably one of the biggest ones and one of the hardest to deal with, I suppose. And that is the issue that comes along with BPD of attachment issues and relationship problems. Now, personally for me, the relationship issues, it wasn't something that I noticed straight away. It was something that I only sort of, when I got diagnosed with BPD last year, it was then, and I sat and thought about it and looked back on relationships I'd had in the past. That was when it suddenly all became clear that, oh, hang on a minute, that's exactly right. And like looking at the symptoms of BPD, which I think it's described something along the lines of people tend to see things in a very black and white way. And with relationships and friendships, it's you tend to put someone on a pedestal 1 minute, so you adore them and worship them, and then absolutely hate their guts the next, and it can switch like that. Now, again, I looked at it first time and was just like, that's not me. But then when I looked back, I was like, actually, yeah. And the fear of abandonment that also comes into that is huge. It's affected me in a massive way. And it's also, it's hard to describe properly. I might do I think I will do a separate video on this actually. But it's talking about it. You love someone, you can absolutely worship them, whether you're actually in a relationship with them, whether they're just a friend, whether they're a family member, anything like that. You can love them and you appreciate everything they do. So, yeah, as I was saying, fear of abandonment has affected me in a huge way. And it's with the whole, I find with me, the pedestal and then not wanting to be near that person and affects me. It's not that I hate that person. I go from worshipping to hating. My head goes, right, I am way too attached and dependent on this person. I become very aware of how attached and reliant I am on this person. So my head goes, oh, I don't like this. I don't want to be a burden. I don't want to worry this person. This person doesn't deserve. I don't deserve to have someone like this in my life. Which is why my head then goes, right, push them away. And it goes to sort of, well, actually, I don't want anything to do with you because you've gotten too close, almost. That, if that makes sense, hopefully it does. But it tends to be, I still love you, even though when you're down on the other pedestal, I still love you, and I still appreciate everything you've done for me. It's just my insecurities and my inner critic, as it were, telling me that half the time I'm not worth to have you in my life. You deserve someone better than me. I don't deserve someone as good as you in my life, so I'm pushing you away and letting you be free from me and my issues. So it's a lot of that for me. That tends to be the biggest way it affects me. It's sort of, it's mainly the fear of abandonment that underlies everything else, all of the relationship issues. I mean, I have a big deal trusting people, massive issue with trusting people, and actually letting people in beyond all the defences that I have up, and calling on them in a time of need is so difficult for me, because it's actually putting the hands up and saying, yes, I am vulnerable and I need help right now, which in my head screams at me, no, don't do that. Don't let them know you're weak. Don't show that side of you, because you will just get dependent on them and you will become attached, and then they will just leave you and they will hurt you again. And again, I've faced a lot of rejection and things like that. Probably a lot of people with this condition have as well. So it's that constant fear of, you're going to leave me, so I'm not going to get too close to you, I'm not going to let you in because you're just going to leave me. So you have your guard up a lot of the time, and a lot of people find it really hard to actually get close to you and know the real you, as it were. And it's really difficult. It can be really hard. Again, I'm going to do another video on advice in how to deal with all these things that I've covered, but I've talked for far too long. So I'm sorry if you've made it to this far in the video. I really congratulate you, because I know I've talked way too long. So I do apologise. It's just that there's a lot to say and a lot to cover. So yeah, like I said before, let me know, give me feedback, comments, inbox me, anything like that. I'm happy to take people who are anonymous as well, anything like that, go ahead. And just give me some feedback, talk to me, let me know what you liked, didn't like, etc, etc. Thank you very much for watching. Like I said, gold medal if you've made it to this point in the video. I will be doing some more videos shortly, hopefully leaving it less time between each video now, because I'm got more time now I'm not in work. So yeah, take care, keep positive, keep going. Like I said, if we can keep going, we can support each other. That's the whole point of this. That is why I'm doing this. Keep going, keep your head up. Good luck, and I will see you soon. Take care, bye.